Hello, my dear students. It's nice to be back again. We will be discussing about sociology as usual for class 12, and the second unit of which is called as the structure of society. We have discussed about some few topics in my last class, and today we'll be discussing the remaining topic under the structure of society. And the last class we had discussed about the rural and urban centers. We have also discussed about the different policies of the population of India, how to stabilize the population and all. So today I would like to discuss a little bit about the features of rural society. In the last class we have discussed about what is a rural society and also what is an urban society. We have also discussed about the local self-government under the rural area as well as in the urban areas. That is what we have discussed in the last class. And under the rural society, we have this first topic which is called as the features of rural society. I repeat again, features of rural society. That is what we will be discussing here. The last class, we had an introduction about this particular topic. We have also discussed that the first feature of the rural society is about the occupation. We had discussed about the occupation of the rural people. And under this topic, we have discussed that agriculture is the main occupation of the people who are living in the rural areas. That is what we have discussed about. And I've also mentioned that, it is not just agriculture, but few of them are engaged in producing handicraft goods, okay? So, and also, there are some carpenters and there are some small, professional group of people, but most of them depend on agriculture. And that is the reason why when we talk about the occupation of the rural people, we are mostly discussing about agriculture, which means most of the people are engaged in agriculture. That was the first feature that we had discussed in the last class. And the second feature or the characteristics of rural society is the joint family system, okay, or the joint family. That is what we will be discussing. So under this joint family, there is a huge influence on the field of social and the cultural aspect of an individual. But before we go into this particular topic, I would like to explain a little bit about what is a joint family system. Here in this joint family system, this can be found mostly in the rural part of Indian villages, okay. Here, a joint family system is a big family, okay. It's a big family composing of at least 2 or more generations, okay. 2 or more generations of people or a family live together under a roof, okay, under a roof. So that is what it means here. Now, joint family system, here it says that it is a big family where it composed of at least 2 or more generations who live together under a same roof. For example, okay, one of the basic example can be, for example, there are 2 couples who got married, okay. Now what happened is that, they had sons, okay. They had 2 sons, and these 2 sons again got married, and they also have, children of their own. For example, so in this way. Now what happened is that, for example, the first, the parents, and then they had children, and now they have grandchildren again. So in that way, this group of people, okay, for example, this is a woman and this is a man, okay. So plus signifies man and O signifies women, okay. Now what happened is that they give birth to 2 sons, and the 2 sons, okay, got married to 2 wives, and then after that, what happened is that they give birth to their own children. Now they become grandparents, but they stay together under a same roof, okay, and a common kitchen. They share a common kitchen. which means they cook together, and then, that is how, they live together. And that is what it means by joint family system. And under this joint family system, the young ones, okay, the younger generations are taught by the older generations, okay? They are taught by the older generations how to be in the society, how to socialize themselves in the society, and also in order to, in order to make them learn the customs and traditions of the society, what happened is that the older folks teach them, all those important customs and traditions of the society. So in that way, the joint family system is another feature of the rural society. The next is the social stratification, okay? Social stratification, S-T-R-A-T-I-F-I-C-A-T-I-O-N, stratification, okay? Now, the social stratification is based on what? Caste system. Now, there are two words here. Social stratification means simply the division of society. Some people have high status, some people have low status, right? So that is what it means here, okay? So simply means, the division of society. The next is the caste system. In the mainland of India, especially starting from the ancient period, what happened was that there was fourfold division of society, okay? The society was divided into fourfold, namely the Brahmanas or the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. We had already discussed about this in our last class, so I will not elaborate much, but this is how, the social status is divided here. The first are the Brahmins, okay, the priestly class. The second are the Kshatriyas, the ruling class, Vaishyas, and artisans, and the Shudras. The Shudras were born in order to serve the upper three castes. That is what it means here. Now, in the villages, the social status is based on the caste system. No matter how much you try, the Shudras will be born as a Shudra, and then even though, he works so hard, his caste will still remain the same. I repeat again, his caste will still remain the same. In the sense that, your status is defined by your birth in the caste system. I repeat again, your status is determined by your birth in the caste system. Okay, so in almost all the rural societies, the society is divided into four. Okay, so in this way, the society is divided and the social ranking is divided into fourfold, okay, under the rural society. The next point is there is a strong community sentiment, okay, strong community sentiment. Now, which means, there is a sense of unity among the villagers. There is a sense of unity or we-feeling, or there is a sense of social solidarity, among the rural people, okay, among the rural society. So that is what it means here. For example, in a village, we find that almost all of them, they have a lot of similarities. Similarities in what? Similarities can be in the form of tribe, in the form of race, okay, and etc. Okay, so it can be based on all those aspects. Now what happens is that this same group of people, same tribals, have the similar customs and traditions. That is one, okay? And that is the reason why, they work together so that they will cooperate among each other, and then there will be stability in the society. So that is why they work together, okay? And that particular feeling of social solidarity, or that particular feeling of unity among the people is what, this community sentiment is all about here. So that is what we can see among the rural dwellers or the people who live in the villages here. The next point is the customs and traditions, okay? So when we look into the customs and traditions, there are people, okay, the customs and traditions. And these customs and traditions are something which is like very precious to these people who live in the village areas. Okay, why? Because almost all of them follow the same customs and traditions. And this is one of the mechanisms through which it controls the society also. Okay, controls the society. For example, in order to live in peace and harmony in the rural area, okay, what do we need? We need something, mechanism in order to control the society. So that is when customs and traditions play a very important role here, okay? So if there is anyone who misbehaves in the society, customs and traditions, controls the individuals here. The next is the last point under this particular features of under the features of rural society is, okay, the lower caste people are mostly poor and they are into poverty and also in illiterate. Okay, most of them, they are illiterate and they are mostly poor people. Why? Because the lower caste people, they are given less opportunities. Okay, they are given less opportunities. I'm talking about the rural areas. Okay, I'm talking about the rural areas here. So they are given less opportunities, and that is the reason why. Okay, that is the reason why most of them, they are poor and they don't have ample of time in order to, okay, they don't have ample of time in order to get education. And that is the reason why it says that, most of them, they are illiterate and also they are poor, okay? So it also leads to poverty. That is what it means here. Now, the next point that I would like to emphasize is about the urban centers and its features. I repeat again, the urban centers and its features. We have discussed in the last class that urban centers or urban areas are those places, or it simply means towns or the cities. That is what we have discussed in the last class. So I will not elaborate much on this particular point. But let's go into this different types of urban centers. Okay, the different types of urban centers. The first one is the traditional urban centers, and the second is modern urban centers. Okay, I repeat again, traditional urban centers, and the next is modern urban centers. Okay, so that is what it means here. So traditional urban centers are basically the administrative centers. Okay, are basically the administrative centers, the political, capitals, or even religious centers, okay, which means they are closely linked to the villages. Why? Because the civilization or the elements of civilization, happened at the same time, or it's similar to each other. But those are the important points here: administrative centers, okay, political capital, or even some of them are, religious centers, or some of them are centers of trade and commerce. Okay, trade and commerce. So that is the reason why that particular place has become urbanized. For example, let me take our capital of Nagaland, Kohima. Kohima doesn't have any industries, or Kohima doesn't have any factories, okay, as such. But what happened is that since it is the political capital of Nagaland, there are lots of offices here. And there are so many paperwork which has been done in Kohima, okay? And that is how, this town, Kohima, has become an urbanized area, okay, or an urbanized town. Or we can also take the example of Dimapur for the center of trade and commerce, okay? For the center of trade and commerce, we can also take the example of Dimapur here, okay? For example, Dimapur is considered as the commercial hub of Nagaland, and that is how people would come and they would do their trade, and then they will go back to their hometown again. So in that way, there are lots of people who comes here, and then in that way, slowly, the particular town grows, okay, and it becomes more and more urbanized, okay. So in that way, this traditional urban centers can be defined. The next is the modern urban centers. So the next is the modern urban centers. Here, under these modern urban centers, they are influenced mainly by the setting up of industries. Okay, that is the first one. And the next is also because of westernization, okay, westernization. And the third is also because of the modernization, okay. So westernization is spelled as W-E-S-T-E-R-N-I-Z-A-T-I-O-N, westernization. And the third is modernization, M-O-D-E-R-N-I-Z-A-T-I-O-N. So these are some of the things which has influenced them, okay. So setting up of industries, okay, setting up of industry. When you set up an industry, okay, what happened was that there will be lots of people who will migrate, okay, to those particular centers because of job facilities, okay, because of the job facilities, and also because of, okay, once the job facilities are given to the people, okay, slowly there will be again shopping malls which will come up. And again, after that, there will be better medical facilities in that particular area. And along with that, educational facilities will also be provided to the people, okay. So that is the reason why, okay, that is the reason why setting up of industries also help the people, okay. It also help that particular area, in order to be more urbanized, okay. So industry has a big impact. The next is the westernization, okay, westernization. Basically, it means the influence of Western culture. That is the first one. Basically, it is the influence of Western culture, where people, start to think rationally. They start to reason out, okay? They start reasoning, which means they forget all the superstitious belief and then they start to reason, why is this happened and everything. I'm very sure there must be many of us who believe that when you are walking to a road, okay, towards a particular road, if a black cat crosses the road, some people, those superstitious belief, people who have superstitious belief, they would say that, something bad is going to happen. And then they will just wait until and unless someone passes the road. But for a person who has rational thinking, you would say that maybe the cat would have seen some food on the other side of the road. That's the reason why he must have crossed the road. So, that is what rational thinking is all about. We don't believe in all those blind faith and everything. So the Western culture or the Western science has also influenced the society a lot. And thus, it also helps the society in order to be more urbanized. The next point is modernization, okay? Modernization. Modernization is quite similar with westernization, but here, the culture. There is a change in the culture, or even there is also changes that takes place in the society. For example, from traditional to secular, state. India is considered as a secular country, okay, where we have freedom of religion, right? So that is what it means here. And also the culture as well, Let's take the example of the Naga society. There are so many, youngsters who are very much influenced by the Korean culture, okay? They are so much influenced by the Korean culture, and the food style, the food habits and everything has also been changed. Before it was just pork and rice, but you would like to have kimbap, kimchi, sushi, etc., right? And not only that, there are so many boys and girls who wants to be upas and unis, right? It's all because of the influence of the culture, okay? And, they also try to change their perspective, towards the society and everything, okay? So in that way, it is a process. And this process is also, it comes along with the modernization. And one of the very important factor of the modernization is, okay, one very important factor of modernization is the advancement in technology, okay? The advancement in the technology here, okay? So, because through technology, we get a lot of information from all around the world. And that is how, it helps an individual to uplift, or it will it will uplift the thoughts of that particular individual here. So that is how, these three entities plays a very important role, okay, in transforming an area into urban centers, okay. So that particular, the influence of this, especially of this three entity or these three aspects, okay, will lead to modern urban centers, okay, will lead to modern urban centers. Now, the next point that I would like to discuss with you is about the features of urban centers, okay, features of urban centers. Under these features of urban centers, okay, we will be discussing about the social heterogeneity, okay, social heterogeneity, okay. So what is this social heterogeneity? It will be there in your page number 22, the first paragraph, okay, page number 22, first paragraph, okay, social heterogeneity. When we look into the urban towns, there is a high density of population. There is a high density of population, and because of this high density of population, there will be different groups of people, okay. When we're talking about different groups of people, we are also talking about the different racial group of people, the different, religious group of people and all, okay. And they also have their own customs and traditions, okay, different racial group of people, different racial group of people, and also the different religious group of people will have their own practices and rituals, okay. So in that way, they help each other, okay, and they help each other, but the main point is, okay, it's a mixture of this group of people. They cooperate with each other, okay, they depend on each other, but, okay, the main important point is about the different group of people here, okay. So that is what it means by social heterogeneity. In Dimapur, we don't just find Nagas, but there are also different groups of people who live in Dimapur, right? Not only Christians, we also see Muslims, Hindus, right? And also the Sikhs and also Jains, etc. So there are different groups of people who live in Dimapur. So it shows that there is social heterogeneity. The next is social control, okay? The social control. Here, the social control is formal, okay? The social control is formal. What does it mean here? Formal means, it is a written document. For example, the Constitution of India, okay? Under the Constitution of India, we have some articles. We have articles which has been written there and which every citizens have to follow. Since, we're not just dealing with a group of people, there are different group of people, okay? And that is the reason why, these constitutions and Indian Penal Code, okay, all this comes very handy for us, okay? And in that way, what happened is that the social control is formal. For example, the police plays a very important role in enforcing the social control in the society. Even the court, the judges, etc. Okay, so that is what social control is all about here. And the next is there is social inequality in the urban centers. Okay, there is social inequality in the urban centers. Means there is a huge disparity between the rich and the poor people. Okay, the rich people are becoming richer and richer. The poor people with lack of opportunities, they are becoming poorer and poorer. Okay, so that is what it means here. The next is social mobility is also another very important feature of urban society. Social mobility means, okay, social mobility means the movement in the social status. Okay, the movement in the social, it may be, vertical movement, okay, where, for example, you are a worker, but what happens is that since you are performing very well, okay, you are elevated to the post of assistant general manager, and later on, you're doing an awesome job again, so that is the reason why, you are promoted. So there is an elevation in your social status, right? So that is what it means by vertical social movement, okay, or, so vertical social mobility, I mean. And there is another word called as horizontal social mobility, okay, where you change your occupation, okay, which means there is a shift, okay, but what happens is that your status remains the same. For example, you are working in a school called as school A, okay, and there is also another school which is school B, okay. Now, the name of the school is A, another name of the school is B, okay? Now, what happened is that you're working in school A, and what happened is that this school is very far from your hometown, and that is the reason why, you know, you want to shift your school to school B. Now, what happened is that you were a teacher here, and after shifting here also, you're still a teacher, which means there is no elevation in the social status, okay? But there is a movement, there is a mobility, which we see, okay? That is what it means by horizontal social mobility, okay? So, even the diagram shows so, okay? So, here, under this, okay, the next point that I would like to discuss with you is about the rural and urban divide and linkages in India, okay? Rural and urban divide and linkages and India, okay? Linkages means the connection, you know, the similarities, and divide means the differences, okay? So that is what it means here. So rural and urban linkages, okay? Rural and urban divides and linkages in India. The first point, you know, here it says that it is very difficult, okay? It is very difficult for the people to, to demarcate where the village ends and the city starts, okay? It is very difficult for the people to demarcate where the village ends and the city starts. That is what it says here, okay? Why? Because there is a lot of connections between these two, okay? There is a lot of connections between these two, okay? For example, the villagers, they supply raw materials, okay, to the urban centers, or even they provide them with labor, okay, cheap labor to the urban centers, and in return, you know, the urban centers would give them educational facilities, medical facilities. So there is a huge, you know, relationship between these two group of people, okay? And that is the reason why it is very difficult to demarcate where the village ends and the city starts. That is what it means here. So under this rural and urban divide and linkages, the first point that I would like to discuss with you is about social organization. Now, under this social organization, you know, we have different types of families. You know, how is the society organized? Okay, how is the society organized under the rural area and also in the urban area? That is what it means by social organization here, okay? So, now first is the family system. We have discussed in the features of rural society that, okay, in a rural society, okay, the family system is joint family system. But, you know, joint family system is a big family, right? That is what we have discussed. But in the urban areas, you know, the family system is nuclear, okay, nuclear family system, which means, you know, it's a small family where, you know, there will be two couples who are married, okay, and they have their own children, okay, they have their children, but these children are not married, okay, yet. And after they marry, they go and they stay in another place, okay, unlike the joint family system where the whole family or the generations one after the another, they live together in the joint family system. But in the nuclear family system, you know, it composed of the parents, you know, their unmarried children. I repeat again, it's unmarried children, okay? And once they get married, they also start their own family. So, you know, that is one of the basic difference between these two. Even the family size is different here. The next is intercaste marriage is not, you know, seen in the rural areas, okay? Intercaste marriage system. I'm sorry again. Intercaste system, intercaste marriage system is not found in the rural area. But intercaste marriage system can be found in the urban area, okay? Here it's no, and here is yes, okay? So what does it mean here? It says that according to the caste system, you know, here the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the Shudras are not allowed to intermarry each other, okay? For example, the Kshatriya cannot marry a Shudra, okay? Or a Brahmana cannot marry a Vaishya, okay? So in that way, you know, they cannot intermarry with each other, okay? That is the rules of the caste system, okay? So, but in the urban centers, okay, what happens is that people follow different, people follow have their own customs and traditions, and it is very flexible also. And because of this flexibility, okay, because of this flexibility, what happens is that we can frequently find, the different group of people, where they intermarry with each other, So the different caste, group can intermarry with each other. The next is social relationship and interaction. Here in the villages, the social interaction is very close. They have this community feeling, they have social solidarity. But in the urban areas, in the urban areas, it is mostly to do with individualism, where the individual is given a lot of importance in the sense that, the choice, there is a freedom of choice for the individual, and that is the reason why that is the basic difference between this, between the rural and the urban, and under the social relationship and social interaction, The next is social mobility. Social mobility, here can be, the movement in the social status is found in the urban areas, but the social mobility in the rural area is very less, Why? Because in the urban areas, you have more opportunities. So that is the reason why, you get to have more elevation in your status also, But in the rural areas, people are mostly, engaged in agriculture. And that is the reason why, we have less, influence or less social mobility in the society, So that is another basic difference between these two, The next is social change, When we talk about the social change means it's a process, where the parts of the structure of the society changes, For example, because of westernization, because of industrialization, even the lifestyle of people is also being changed. That is what we have discussed. So that is what it means by social change. When the structure of the society changes, we can also say that there is a social change that is taking place. Social change is very rapid, It's rapid, or it's changing rapidly in the urban areas, but in the, rural area, the changes is very gradual in a very slow process, Why? Because of the influence of various factors such as technology or even the opportunities which is being given to the people, That is the reason why, under the social change, the urban areas, the social change is rapid, and the rural areas, the social change is very slow. The next one is cultural life, Here, the rural people are very, they follow their own customs and traditions. Why? Because almost all of them, they belong to the same community, And along with that, they also share the same values and they enjoy the same festivals together. But under the urban area of cultural life, the cultural life is a little flexible, It's very flexible. Why? Because the choice of the individual is being given out here. And the last one is the economic life, The last one is the economic life. Under this economic life, agriculture is the backbone of the rural dwellers, And under the economic life of the urban area, in the urban area, what happens is that people, have different professions. They are specialized in different fields. And everyone has their own thing to do, And in that way, even the income rate is very high compared to the one in the rural area, So with this, I would like to conclude our class for today. And in the next class, we'll be discussing a new topic, So till then, I would like to encourage you once again. But today, I will not tell you to, read the textbooks, because I'm very sure, almost all the students will be doing that. But tonight, as you go to your bed, I would request you to pray for those people who are infected with the COVID-19 virus. And along with that, I would also like you to pray for the frontline workers. As India is a secular country, you might be Christian, Sikh, or whatever it is, So let's pray together. And, let's say a prayer that, this COVID-19 virus will, go away from this earth as soon as possible. So thank you so much.